Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we take a look at every theatrically released animated film in order. I'm Tennille.
And I'm Sean.
Today we have another USSR film. Tsarevna, the Frog? I'm not quite sure if I'm saying it correctly. I don't know if it was ever said during the film either. I know that that's not the character's name.
Is it not? I thought it was.
No, the character's name is something like Varessa?
None of this sounds familiar to me, so I don't remember.
Okay.
It's been a couple of days since we've seen the film.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the Frog Princess.
Yes. Which has a bunch of different adaptations all over Europe. But from what I could tell, it seems like it is primarily a Russian folk story.
Okay.
And the adaptation that we watched of it is your pretty run-of-the-mill adaptation of The Frog Princess.
To a point.
I mean...
But also, I don't know the original story that much.
Well, the Frog Princess that I always knew it as is just really vague. Like, the only part of it that I knew is that, like, there's a girl who's a frog.
And a ball and a boy.
A ball?
Yeah, a boy loses his ball in the pond, and so a frog pulls it out, and then they kiss. Or no, that's the Frog Prince.
That's the Frog Prince.
Huh. I don't know. Whatever.
Somebody kisses a frog, and the frog turns out to be a hot person, and then they marry.
And that's it.
Yep, that's the only frog gender here.
But either way, this... I would give you a synopsis, but the synopsis would take just as long as the actual film.
Right.
Because that's one thing I noticed about this movie right away, is it has a breakneck pace.
Yes. Breakneck.
Breakneck.
Breakneck. Oh, wow. We can talk.
I said that incorrectly. A breakneck pace.
Yeah.
It just goes really fast.
Yeah, this is not a movie that you can, like, oh, don't worry about pausing it. I just need to, like, look down, and then you'd look back up, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, what just happened? I'm lost.
Things are set up so that they can immediately be
paid off,
like 5 seconds later. And this is happening constantly throughout the entire film. There are so many plot points.
Just to give you a brief rundown of what goes on, though. You have the king and his 3 sons. And the king's like, hey, doofuses, why aren't you married yet?
Fire your arrows in a random direction, and whatever girl finds it, marry them.
Yeah. So
You've already missed things.
I know I've already missed things. But, like, this is the basic fairy tale. So yeah, fire your arrows. All 3 boys fire their arrows, and the 2 older boys end up getting, like, aristocrat,
Some rich chick.
Gosh, yeah.
And some merchant chick.
Yeah, so, like, 2 highborn ladies, essentially. And then the youngest brother ends up firing his arrow into a swamp, and a frog finds it.
And the frog has been cursed. This frog is like... I want to say she's like the goddess of spring or something.
Yeah, when we first started watching this, because this actually opens with her getting cursed. When we first started watching this, I was just like, are we watching Russian... Goddess of Spring?
Yeah, so
because it really feels like that.
She's just like this goddess of spring or whatever and the animals, and she's having a good time. It's like, nothing could ruin this. And then it immediately gets ruined by this villain guy that comes in and is like, I can turn things to gold, and I'm also going to turn you into a frog because you won't marry me.
Yeah, he is like a hellish devil. I mean, it seriously is. It's like the goddess of spring. It's the whole, like, Persephone and Hades bit going on.
It's so weird. But either way, she's a frog, and then the prince marries her.
Yep. And
As
he's
a
really
frog.
ashamed and sad about it, which is hilarious.
Oh no, I can't show you in public and
Yeah.
stuff. It's like, why did you marry a frog?
And then it turns out the old king man wasn't really interested in having his sons married. He was actually just interested in having these women make, like,
Random stuff for him.
doing contests for him.
Uh-huh. He's like, all right, so I want all of your wives to make me a rug
Yeah.
or a blanket or something. And so...
Like a tapestry.
Yeah, the first two are just like, I'll have servants do it, and then the servants had someone else do it, and the servants had someone else do it, and the servants had... It just keeps
Because
going.
yet again, it's this problem of, like, if there is a good female in a fairy tale, there can only be one.
And all other
And
females
all
are
the females are either lazy or evil.
Yeah, so they're dumb. Mm-hmm. And so the frog princess is allowed to turn back into a human at night, so it's very similar to, like, the swan princess.
Yeah, this is very Swan-like.
So at night, she grabs the moonlight, which actually was a cool effect,
Yeah.
and uses that as the base, and then she's like throwing magic and shit on it, and it turns into a beautiful moving tapestry.
I want to say, though, like, how are those other women, even if they were trying, like, how are they supposed to compete with that? She's
Yeah.
literal magic.
Uh-huh. So either way, obviously the frog wins, and the husband's like, how did she do this?
Right.
But I'm still ashamed.
But I'm still ashamed.
And so they're throwing a party in celebration of the frog, and everyone's like, come on, bring your wife out, and they laugh
Oh, yeah,
at
they're
him.
all laughing at him.
Even though she's obviously an amazing seamstress, if nothing else.
Yeah. But she does end up coming, not as a frog, but in her human form, because it's night.
It's night, so she's able to get there, and everyone's like,
just
oh my gosh!
okay with this.
Uh-huh.
They're like, oh, you didn't just find another girl, or...
How is this your wife? We don't understand. Whatever.
I mean, it is a fairy tale, but even still, this is a little hard to...
Uh-huh. And then they dance, and she's like still throwing magic around. Everyone's just like, yeah, okay, this is fine, this is cool. Not worried about this at all.
Yet again, another Russian film, and we've got to have witchcraft, the devil, and horses.
Like beautiful, sexy horse animation. Every time.
Every time. It's got to be there. It's not a Russian film if you don't have those three elements.
But yeah, it's just totally okay with all this magic and stuff. And so during the party, the husband runs home, finds the frog skin, and burns it. And then she's like, how dare you do this? Now I'm cursed to be with that guy who cursed me in the first place.
If you had only waited... like,
3 more days.
No, I think it was literally one day.
No, it was 3 days. I'm pretty sure it was 3 days.
Okay.
1 to 3 days. I could have been yours forever. Oh no.
I thought the film was kind of going to wrap up there and
Yeah.
just be like a lesson in something.
Something, I don't know. But no, we're barely into it. We gotta keep going. We're trucking. So the
Yeah.
husband's like, oh, I'm an idiot. And so he runs into the woods and finds this old guy who is also magical.
Baba Yaga. So
No.
Oh wait!
no.
First he finds the old man. I'm skipping.
Yeah, you're
There's
skipping so
so
much.
much going on in this film.
So an old man, he's like, here, let me break off my stick and turn it into a little mushroom thing. Follow it, it will show you the way to go. I was expecting you to come later. And I was like, yeah, this movie has been moving like at a breakneck speed. Anyways, off we go, and he sprints off, and then he finds some bears, and he's about to shoot them. And the bears...
Okay. Anyway,
This happens multiple times in a row where he finds an animal, he's about to shoot it, then they're like, don't shoot me and I'll repay you a debt. And he's like, okay.
I feel
All
like
right.
that comes from a different fable.
Yeah, it feels like we jumped into a different fable now.
Yeah.
At this point.
Because from what I could tell in different versions of the Frog Princess, that part isn't a part of this, so they kind of like mashed that in to like give it a more climactic ending.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But either way, he's like, help me out. Like, that, we'll help you out later. And he's like, cool. And he does this like 4 times in a row.
Anyway, enough summarizing the film.
He gets to Baba Yaga, and she's like, go here and then fight this dragon and open this egg and this thing and this other thing, which all the animals help him get, to get this needle, which will allow him to kill the guy that has cursed the girl.
Yes.
Which the guy is just sitting there watching all this happen the whole time, and then he's eventually like, oh no, it's not
He's coming for me.
He's coming for me.
I'm going to turn her into gold.
Yeah, turn her into gold too, because I can turn anyone into gold. Don't know why I didn't do this to begin with.
That's a thing I can do.
Yeah. So he flies down as like an evil bird thing, and so the dude sticks the needle on the top of an arrow and shoots him, and then
There's also a dragon in there.
Yeah, well, that was before, like, he gets the needle.
Yeah.
It's just like, things happen, and then it's over. It's like, he shoots the guy, and he turns into a skeleton, and that was, like, some pretty impressive animation there, and then it just kind of dissolves, and then all the gold and evil goes away.
Oh, yeah. All of this... I want to say that all of this is, pretty similar to a lot of the other Russian films we've watched so far. I do feel like it was a slight step down in animation quality. However, with that being said, the animation itself moved faster.
Yes.
And that I'm very much grateful for, because that's been something that I've had an issue with in all the previous films before this one, is that the animation moved really slow thanks to the rotoscoping.
Yeah, that being said, any time where it's people just still standing around and talking to each other, which is a lot of this film, it's just slow.
For how fast
this movie is, I don't want to say that rotoscoping is bad.
Because it's not. It's just a tool.
It's a tool. But I am starting to get worn out of all of these films looking the exact same, with the exact same rotoscope movements, with the exact same everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's starting to feel like.
Yeah. And I think had we watched this film before we watched some of the others, we still would have been pretty impressed with this.
Yeah. It's like I don't think it's
an
worse.
adaptation of a fairy tale and stuff. I'm similar to you. I'm just kind of getting worn down on them, and I'm ready to see something different.
Change. I want to see the Russian studios that are doing these. I think it's only like 1 or 2.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about something that I hadn't talked about before with these. And I still need to do more research on this topic, but Russian animation is a lot bigger than the rest of the world realizes. Or at least, like, Soviet animation. Like, they made a lot of stuff. We're not even covering half of the stuff they made.
Yeah, I mean, we're only covering the quote-unquote feature-length films.
Right, and this was only 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
And a lot of it you can't even find anymore. But, like, because it was Soviet Russia, these artists essentially had the artistic freedom and budget to do what they wanted, and they made these films, and there is a lot of them. And then from what I could tell, once the Soviet Union was over, that kind of disappeared.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just weird. It's so strange to me that such a big part of animation history
I've never experienced before.
Right, and most of the rest of the world hasn't experienced before.
And I'm guessing a big reason that we in America especially didn't experience this is because this was in the middle of the Red Scare.
Right, exactly.
And we tried to shun anything to do with the Soviet Russia.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not just us. Like, most of the rest of the world is not familiar with these films.
Okay. Yeah, so again, there's nothing wrong with this film by any means. It's just we're starting to get a little worn out of seeing them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all very, very similar. And since they're doing such, like, straight adaptations of these fairy tales.
Straight adaptations of the fairy tales with straight rotoscoping.
Right.
It's like they're not embellishing the rotoscoping very much. It's very clearly that that person was standing exactly there. They're just like literally drawing lines on top of them type of thing.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see a little change of pace.
Yes. Is there really anything else to talk about?
Not really. I mean, this was a lot of the same kind of stuff, like we said before. So I guess we will kind of have a short review this week. And next week, we go back to America now.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to watch Lady and the Tramp.
From Disney.
Yep.
There you go.
So see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.